How are you all doing tonight? My name is Bigbobbedboi and welcome to my Hunter Phase 2 discussion. It's less than 3 weeks until Phase 2. Damn, this phase is too long. But it is time to talk about how Hunter is going to look in Phase 2. Let's talk about what we know will change, runes that have a good chance of showing up, and maybe most importantly, our hopes and dreams for the future of Hunter. And finally, should you play a Hunter in Phase 2? Like, just how good will Hunter be in Phase 2? We will discuss it all. Alright, so what do we know is changing for Hunter going to level 40? First thing is all our new abilities. 25 to 40 brings on some pretty impactful shit. At 26 we get Rapid Fire. It was a pretty solid DPS cooldown, although it's still a 5-minute cooldown, which is a bit rough. At 28 we get Frost Trap. This is the AoE slow trap, incredibly useful. At 30 we get Aspect of the Beast, not very useful. Even in PvP, I basically never use this. I can count on one hand the amount of times the Hunter has found me via tracking. Maybe if I'm camping a base in AB or the flag room in Warsong, that's about it. But 30 also brings, oh yes, one of the most key Hunter abilities. Honestly, it hardly feels like Hunter without it. Feign Death. This opens up so much for Hunter. It makes a lot of solo stuff possible that otherwise wouldn't be. It makes it so you can dump a bunch of damage into mobs and FD it off back to the tank. It makes it so you can actually use your traps in combat by getting out of it for a second. There's also the possible implications of FDing to swap gear in combat. Maybe even gear that has different runes. We don't know if that will be the case. Obviously no one has been able to test it, but with the way things currently are, there's no reason that wouldn't work. Blizz could always add in some measures to stop that from being possible. And with their current track record for fucking over Hunters, they just might do that. At 32, we get Flare, limited use in PvE, but super impactful for PvP. 36 brings Viper Sting. Mana Drain is mostly used in PvP, but there are uses for this in PvE as well. It's very nice to have. Level 40 gets us Mail, which it's nice to have the extra damage reduction, but not a big deal. Aspect of the Pack and Volley. Aspect of the Pack is nice for getting your group around faster, but Volley, yeah, Volley is shit. Rapid Fire, Frost Trap, FD, Flare, Viper Sting. Those are some seriously important abilities in the Hunter kit, and we make out better here than a lot of other classes. And this abilities is miles better than what we will gain in the level 50 bracket. What about our talents? If you're going survival, there's not a lot to be really excited about, unfortunately. Except for Imp FD. Honestly, this talent is super underrated. Anytime I do farming like DM solo runs, I love to have this. It gives you so much freedom to know you're basically never going to get an FD resist. I can't think of any other talent points that save me from dying as much as this. It's not even close. Other than that, you got counterattack coming, the agility from lightning reflexes, and Wyvern Sting, which we'll talk a bit about Wyvern Sting later. For Marksman, you actually get some really cool stuff. You can max out mortal shots. This talent is necessary for those huge crits, and come on, it just feels good to see a huge aim shot crit. That's one of the best parts about Classic Hunter. You also get Scattershot. At 25, PvPing as Marksman is not so great. Getting Scattershot really turns Marksman into something I can actually enjoy in PvP. It's also occasionally useful in dungeons and such. Finally, Marks gets True Shot Aura, the literal bane of Classic Hunter. We were mostly just brought for this buff, but actually, since we're already bringing King's buff, having another decent buff on top of it really solidifies your place in that melee group. It's just such a shame that melee weaving isn't as fun on Marks as it is in BM. It is a decent buff though. But BM, this is where things really turn up. Ferocity, Intimidation, Bestial Discipline, Frenzy, and Bestial Wrath. Shit! That is a phenomenal set of talents. Gameplay wise, not much changes here. But numbers wise, damn, are things looking good. But also our burst goes through the fucking roof here. Not only will we have Rapid Fire to increase our damage, but our already high pet damage is going to get Bestial Wrath. Bestial Wrath was a fantastic cooldown in Classic. Even before the BM rune, our pets are going to rip with this. And that's why, I think it was in the BM guide video, I called these nerfs on the BM rune. It was pretty obvious those were going to happen. I just hope they don't nerf it again. Nerfing it now instead of on P2 launch day was probably a good idea. Just don't nerf it again. Hunters can be left alone at this point. But you know, our pets also get some new shit. The most important is obviously dash. You can teach pets rank 1 dash at level 30, but the earliest we can tame a pet with rank 1 is level 32 in STV. But you can teach pets at level 40 rank 2 dash, and you can get rank 2 at level 40. Look at that list of pets. One of my all-time favorites right there, old Cliffhopper. I use that on my Night Elf Hunter and Classic a lot. It's not going to be easy, but I have to get him on my Orc Hunter this time. Old Cliffhopper and Snarler are two of my favorite pets. Maybe I'll get Snarler on the Night Elf this time. You might also be like, oh cool, what about Dive? Well, the only pet you're likely to be using that would need Dive is a Wind Servant, and unfortunately, you are stuck with rank 1. Rank 2 is only learnable starting at level 41, so kind of fucked there. Plus, cats can also learn Prowl starting at level 32, and yeah, you can also learn rank 2 at 40. It looks like we're going to be using cats again. Possibly Wind Serpents make a bit of a comeback at 50 though. Other than that, Thunderstomp is the only new pet ability we could learn, and you can get rank 2 at level 40. It's not something you're going to want to run in general, but this does have some limited uses. It's a decent chunk of AoE damage and threat. If it didn't have a 1-minute cooldown, Gorilla could be a pretty useful pet. Actually, pretty decent stuff for pets now that I look at it like this. Now, let's talk about the runes. First, I'm going to go over runes I think have a decent chance of showing up. Obviously, I have no insider knowledge here. None of these could show up. We may only get 1 new rune. We may get 12 new runes. We may only get minor runes. They may delete the Hunter class. I really don't know. But these are the runes that I think have the best chance of getting in. The first one would be that updated Wyvern Sting. Why do I think this? It was data mined, and it was being changed pretty late in development. But also, I can't think of any ability in SoD that was changed from Classic, just baseline. The closest is stuff like Shaman's Dual Wield, where you learn the passive ability to dual wield while doing the quest for a rune, or Locke's Meta Rune, which changes existing abilities, but only when you have the rune on. Otherwise, abilities are all the same as Classic. So this leads me to believe there's a fairly solid chance this version of Wyvern Sting is meant to be from a rune. Level 40 would be the place to put that rune, since this is when we'll first be able to use Wyvern Sting. And if we extrapolate further, ooh, I love that word, extrapolate, we could see level 40 runes for each of our final talents. Wyvern Sting, TS Aura, and Bestial Wrath. You've already seen Wyvern Sting, TS Aura. I don't know what that would be. Maybe change it to a percentage of attack power instead of a small flat number. Or, hold up, let me check if I have enough hopium left to say this. Make it proc instant aim shots. Ooh, fucking please let that happen, that would be so nice. And that feels like something that would make sense for a final marksman talent. For Bestial Wrath, it's pretty obvious. Beast Within, it just makes sense, do it Blizz. If my reasoning here makes any sense, I would also expect Raptor Strike to be changed. It may not be the exact version that was data mined before, but Melee Hunter needs some help. And Raptor Strike is the place to do that, and actually I think Blizzard knows that, based on the fact that they were at least playing around with an instant version of Raptor Strike. And Flanking Strike really only makes sense if you can use Raptor Strike more often. Out of all the runes there could be, something to do with Raptor Strike is the one I think is most likely. Oh yeah, another reason I think this is the most likely, it's on the fucking client. Like the actual live one right now. Here you can see me link it in game. There were other runes that they had tested, like Expose Weakness. This was on the BlizzCon demo, and it could be returning too, but it was removed. Like I can't link this on the live servers like I can this instant Raptor Strike. Something to do with traps, yeah, is also pretty likely. Remember the ranged traps that were data mined? All of those are also on the client, and you can link them in game as well. I don't know if they would just give us a rune that makes all of our traps ranged, give us a freezing arrow, or give us a rune that enables a trap launcher, but I really think ranged traps and combat traps or both are likely. Okay, but what about runes that I just want? The runes I think Hunter should get. Well, I've got some weird choices for that. First one is Flare Traps. Did you ever play Torghast in Shadowlands? No? Good, it was terrible. But it did have one really cool idea for Hunter I wouldn't mind seeing return. in SoD, and that is flare traps. In Shadowlands, your frost trap is replaced by tar trap. So basically the same thing, but it's usable at range and it has a tar theme instead of frost for some reason. But one of the things you could get in Torghast made it so if you used flare on top of your tar trap, it would ignite and do a huge AoE dot. That was really fucking cool. I would love to see some interaction with our flare and our traps. Use flare on a frozen target to break it early, but leave them with a stun, a debuff or something. Flare on a frost trap, and now instead of people being slowed, they're sliding all over the place. Alright, that would be obnoxious AF, but kind of funny. Even something simple and more realistic, like if you flare on a trap that hasn't gone off, it will go off. How many times have you had a mob basically standing on the trap and it just won't proc? Using flare to proc a trap like that and just have the effect on the nearest target would be a really nice change. Plus, I feel traps are criminally underused part of Hunter's kit. Give me more chances and reasons to use them. Alright, we're getting kind of wild here, but Camouflage from Legion. I love this ability. It's so ridiculous. It's basically stealth for Hunter, but it lasts 1 minute and has a 1 minute cooldown. And it also heals you and your pet while you're camoed. I mainly used this ability in arenas. It was super nice to be able to get out of combat and camo to reset and heal to full. I actually don't think this would be that OP in PvE. We already have invis pots, and we have FD, and Night Elf Hunter can meld. This would make a lot of solo farming much easier though. Also, I logged onto retail to get this footage for you. It was very gross. Getting back to reality now, I really want something more interesting to do on BM Hunter. I just want them to import TBC BM Hunter into SoD. TBC BM Hunter for me was the best iteration of Hunter. I'd love to play that style of Hunter in SoD, especially if they also brought in DST. But even if they're not going to do that, I would like to see some more interaction between the Hunter and the Hunter's pet. I just don't know what they could do that would make that fun and not overpowered. Other than giving us the TBC version of Kill Command, and then by the time we get to level 60, give us runes to make us TBC BM Hunters. One thing they could do is Barbed Shot. Problem with that is Barbed Shot sucks. I hate it. I'd rather see something that is like the reverse of this. Say the pet gets a crit, or every time it spends 100 focus, something like that. I get an ability to use for damage, instead of an ability that makes the pet do damage. I'd also like to see them pretty much just rework almost all of the Hunter runes. Yeah, Hunter got really shafted on runes. We probably have the worst set of runes in the game. There's barely no synergy among them, and they don't add much gameplay wise. A bunch are basically garbage, like Lone Wolf and Serpent Spread. Some just make no sense at all, like why is Cobra Strike's only shot abilities? Why is Sniper Training this garbage version instead of the Wrath one? They probably won't do it, but the majority of them do need changed. So, what is my most wanted rune? Like if I could just pick one rune, and Blizzard would do it. You're not gonna guess this. Seriously, try it. Put it in the comments right now. What do you think is the Hunter rune I want most? You are wrong, I guarantee it. Like the Men's Warehouse. You are probably thinking Silencing Shot, or Lock and Load, or Aspect of the Viper. Nope. It is Play Dead. What is Play Dead? Not a lot of people know about this, but I fucking love this ability. It's Pet FD. Yeah, so you can FD and your pet can FD. Do you know what kind of shit that opens up for Hunter? Being able to have your pet drop all mobs at will, get it out of combat, have people de-target it in PvP. It seems like such a small thing, but this is one of the highest skill ceiling abilities for Hunter in WoW. And hardly anyone even knows about it. I doubt they'll add this to SoD, but holy shit would I love it. This is the rune I want more than anything else. I'd also like to see them add some new pets. It's getting really lame using basically the same pets as in Classic. They were off to a decent start in Phase 1 by adding the new White Lion and Wyverns. We're going into Nowhere now. Why not add in a short quest line to let us tame mechanical pets? Or just do something actually cool and bring back the Spectral Wolf from Dustwallow. Why in the fuck have they not done this? It was available briefly in original TBC, but never in Classic. Or if they're going to make us use cats, at least bring in some new looks for them. There's a few unused cat skins in the game, like this blue one. Add some of these into Alterac or something. There's a lot they could do to shake up Hunter pets from Classic, and it really wouldn't take them much work to do it. And finally, should you play Hunter in Phase 2? And how good will it be in Phase 2? With the info right now, I'm just going to tell you Hunter is going to be phenomenal in Phase 2. This will probably be Hunter's best phase. Outside of the insane number of nerfs, we did good at 25. But the 50 bracket, that's not going to be that impressive for us. We don't gain anything huge going to level 50, other than the possibility to use aim shot as BM. That's probably the most impactful thing. Going to 40, we get a huge amount of important abilities. Our pet gets important abilities, and the BM towns are just crazy strong. Even if they want to nerf BM more, it will still be strong. And marksman even gains a ton going to 40 in PvP and PvE, especially if we can attain a decent amount of crit with Nomer gear, so we can now max out mortal shots and barrage. BM will likely be topping meters until warriors get super geared out, then they might pull ahead again. Marks is likely to be a little bit behind, especially if we don't get an amazing range weapon, but it is still going to be quite high up there. The only spec I'm a little bit worried about is melee. There's still not a big reason to play ranged serve at 40 for PvE, that'll come at 60, but melee serve, it's really just up in the air how good or bad it will be. It is extremely dependent on what they do rune-wise. Although I guess that doesn't matter much, as most people just do not seem to be interested in melee hunter, which is surprising to me. I think it could be really fun. BM going to wreck in PvP and PvE. Marks going to be very good in PvP and PvE. Melee, who knows? Yeah, you should play Hunter in Phase 2. Hunter Jesus is by our side. Damn, that was an amazing video. I hope you liked it, because I am going hard over here. We are close to 20k subs, so if you did enjoy it, hit that like button, subscribe button. For the love of Hunter Jesus, don't nerf BM again button. All that other shit. I appreciate each and every one I get, and we even have a membership option. Click that join button, check it out. You want to support the channel. YouTube has recently changed the way memberships work, and now all my members get to watch videos early. Every single one. But that is going to be all for this one. I really appreciate you all watching, and I will see you all for the next one.